At age 18, Michelle Martingo was the all-American sweetheart. 6 days before Christmas, she went to the mall in her hometown of Cedar Rapids in Iowa. Michelle had parked her car in a dark corner in the car park. She did not really think twice about it and just went in to do her shopping. Now, actually, while she was at the mall, she bumped into her ex-boyfriend named Andy. Now, the pair did exchange pleasantries, then Michelle just went on with her business. When the mall was about to close, Michelle headed towards her car. She turned on the engine to warm up the car, and when she did that, she didn't lock her doors. At that very moment, someone opened her car and brutally stabbed her 29 times. Now, no money was stolen and she was not SA'd. At about 4 a.m. that evening, her body was discovered. Her family were rightfully devastated, and an investigation into her case was launched. Now, many in the town immediately suspected her ex-boyfriend, Andy. However, Andy's mother had provided him an alibi. She said he had made it back home by the time Michelle was attacked. However, many witnesses still thought he was somewhat involved. At the funeral, he had been acting hysterical, almost getting into the coffin with Michelle. The investigation would continue, and Andy would never be arrested. In fact, he would end up moving away and joining the Navy. And sadly, Michelle's case would go cold. However, in 2005, a detective named Doug Larson, who just so happened to have gone to school with Michelle, decided to reopen the case. And what he uncovered is truly chilling. Uploading part 2 now.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 27. When 14-year-old George Stinney was executed via electric chair, he was too short for the chair, so he used his Bible as a booster seat. He was later found out to be innocent. In the 1600s, Athanasius Kircher invented a musical instrument made out of cats. He would place them in a row according to the tone of their voice, stretching their tails under a keyboard made out of sharp nails. Texas had absolutely no regulations on natural gas until 1937, when a school blew up, killing 295 students and teachers. No one was held responsible, and the event was so bad that even Hitler sent a letter of condolence.
I had a cellie one time right before I got out. He'd been locked up for 24 years for manufacturing. During the conversations we had, he told me, I can't wait to get out there. I'm going to start cooking again, and I'm going to party hard one good time before I come back and basically die in prison.
One was a psychopath, and one was an empath. The lives of these conjoined twins will give you chills.
This is the disturbingly sad life of Marsha and Dasha, two conjoined twins who were removed from their mother's custody to be studied by Soviet psychologists. At birth, the twins were joined at the waist at 180 degrees. They had 2 heads, 2 torsos, 4 arms, and 1 leg each. When they were born, doctors told the mother that she had given birth to a mutant, and the babies had sadly died. This was all a lie in order to get custody of the 2 kids. The state then transported the girls to Moscow, where they were subjected to really disturbing medical experiments. These experiments included packing one twin in ice to bring their temperature down to near fatal levels while observing the temperature changes of the other twin, burning one twin to see what would happen to the other, starving them, depriving them of sleep, electrocuting them, and the list sadly goes on. However, the girls were given an elementary education when rumors started to circulate around Moscow that they had hidden a girl with 2 heads. Marsha and Dasha had to be moved for their own safety. Now, as the girls grew up, it became really evident that they had 2 very different personalities. Dasha was known to be an empath, and during her entire ordeal always longed to live a normal life. Marsha, on the other hand, was incredibly disobedient. She would often scream, lie, threaten, and sometimes even attack Dasha. Doctors discovered that she displayed narcissistic tendencies. But what would happen next to the 2 girls would be even more disturbing. Part 2 uploading now.
This mysterious case absolutely does not sit right with me. Someone knows something and has not come forward. On the 12th of July 2015, 18-year-old Tiffany and her parents attended a graduation party in New Jersey. At around 9 p.m, one of Tiffany's friends spoke to her parents and claimed that they were really annoyed because Tiffany had used their debit card without permission. Tiffany initially denied this to her friend, but then did admit this to her mum Diane a little bit later. At this point, they were all outside Tiffany's house, and Diane went inside to find her husband. When she returned outside of the house, Tiffany had vanished. Now, they were able to see Tiffany on the deer cameras that they had outside the house. She appears to be walking down the driveway in her normal clothing and white headband. When they tried to find Tiffany, they actually made a terrifying discovery. Her phone was lying on the floor at the bottom of the driveway. Immediately, they knew something was wrong, as Tiffany never had her phone out of her sight. At 11:30 p.m, her family called the police. Little did they know, 27 minutes earlier, Tiffany had been hit by a train. Frustratingly, pretty much straight away, police presumed this death to be a self-unaliving. However, that just didn't seem to fit with the evidence presented. All of Tiffany's family and friends said how much of an upbeat person she was and that she was really happy at the time. She was making plans for the future, and the autopsy also showed that she had a clean toxicology report. Now, in the deer cam footage, she was fully clothed, but when she was found, she was just in her underwear with no shoes on. Upsettingly, 2 weeks after her death, Tiffany's mum actually found her missing trainers and headband more than a mile away from the tracks. Could someone have murdered Tiffany and then dumped her body on the train tracks to make it look like she did this herself? Tiffany's parents certainly think so. They definitely suspect some foul play was involved.
True crime fans, this is for you. This hunk of man meat right here is Joe the Cannibal Matheny. He started his rampage in 1994 when he came home from work and found out that his girlfriend had taken everything from their house, including his son. After months of looking, he found out the girlfriend had been arrested for drugs, son was in foster care, so he went on a rampage. He went under a bridge where he found out that the girlfriend had been doing drugs with her new boyfriend. Instead of finding the girlfriend, he found two homeless men who, when they didn't know anything about the girlfriend, he butchered them with an axe. Both of them left him on a mattress. That first night, he killed 5 people. One of them he literally just killed because it was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I wish that I could tell you that his atrocity stopped there, but we're not even into the worst part yet. Follow for part 2.
This is Jennifer Daughtery, and she was a victim of probably one of the worst crimes I've ever heard of. This is your trigger warning. This is going to be a rough one. Over the course of 2 days, these 6 people, now named the Greensburg Six, tortured and killed Jennifer. These people were her so-called friends. The main reason behind this was because Angela and Penny were jealous because 2 of the men liked her. They were flirting with Jennifer. They concocted this plan and decided over a vote between the 6 of them if they were going to kill Jennifer. Before they killed her, they had her write this note so that they could pass it off as suicide. Although Jennifer was 30 years old, she was disabled, and her mental capacity was only that of a 14-year-old.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, part 21. This photo shows an 8-month-old Xiao Bao who was lucky to be alive because his mother stabbed him 90 times after he bit her while she was breastfeeding him. The world's scariest haunted house, McCamey Manor, requires you to sign a 40-page waiver and undergo a physical and mental evaluation. If you manage to make it through the house, you could win $20,000. But to this day, no one has ever made it through. The little girl who voiced Ducky in The Land Before Time was shot to death by her father, who then committed suicide. Roman Emperor Nero had a boy castrated, dressed him up as a bride, and married him, all because the boy looked similar to his previous dead wife. A 46-year-old man found and attacked a 13-year-old boy because the kid was killing him too many times in a game of Call of Duty.
Another true crime story of how they were caught. In Lubbock, Texas, a man noticed a suitcase while working at the landfill. He decided to open it up and saw a body in the fetal position. She appeared to be badly bruised and beaten, and she had a tattoo of the name Summer on her ankle. Police would determine the cause of death was asphyxiation, and they found through fingerprint records her name was Summer Lee Baldwin. The suitcase did not contain fingerprints, but police were able to find a tag and contact the manufacturing company, who said that this suitcase was only sold in Walmart stores. The UPC on the bag tracked to a specific Walmart store which showed a man at about 3 a.m. on the day of the crime purchasing the bag along with some latex gloves. Credit card was used in the purchase, which came back to a man named Rocindo Rodriguez. They tracked his card to a gas station which happened to be near a Holiday Inn that he stayed. Police would go into his hotel room and find blood on the carpet, the box spring, and the sheets. Police also found a trash can in the hallway that contained a Walmart bag and latex gloves in that bag. Police found him taking a selfie of him getting onto a bus back to San Antonio and cell phone records showing him going back to his family's home there. Latex gloves police found had Summer's DNA on the outside, and on the inside had his DNA along with her DNA. He would deny involvement, and police would search his computer and find something even more sinister. Police found the suspect was in online communication with Summer and had also been searching news articles about the woman. Furthermore, police uncovered communication online between him and a 16-year-old girl named Joanna Rogers. Police were now suspecting that the suspect was involved in another crime with another woman. Joanna had disappeared 18 months earlier and had left her phone, keys, clothes behind and had just disappeared. Phone records would show Rocindo making a phone to the family's landline the night of that crime. Police learned that the family's trash went to the same landfill as the first victim, so they started organizing a search to search it. After several months of searching, a backhoe would uncover another suitcase which would contain Joanna's body. Dental records would confirm the identity of Joanna. More DNA from Summer's rape kit would come back to Rocindo. Rocindo was sentenced to death in Texas and executed, and that was how he was caught.
My name is Lionel Dahmer, and I'm the father of Jeff Dahmer. He was born in 1960 at a house that we rented in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. As a very young boy, he was very happy, and he would run to me and jump into my arms. He liked to ride his little tricycle, and he used to like very much to ride on the handlebars of my bicycle. When you look at the whole movies, you know, you see a happy time. We had a very close relationship. He wanted to be held and would come running up to me whenever I'd come home from somewhere. And he just loved to be with me and his mother. I met Joyce in Milwaukee. She was outgoing and liked to do new things, and a very loving person, it seemed to me. When Joyce became pregnant with Jeff, she developed seizure-type symptoms, and the doctors would prescribe barbiturates and morphine to calm her down, because her body would become rigid and she would develop a little bit of foam in the mouth. Unfortunately, the doctors didn't discover what it was exactly. He would come home drunk from high school. The drinking got worse and worse, and I talked about the dangers of him continuing, but I think at that point he was just so addicted, physically and mentally. My mother told me about the mannequin that Jeff had taken from a store, and I didn't know what that was all about. And I asked him why he took it. Jeff said, I just wanted to see if I could do it, which didn't make sense. I did question him about it. What exactly did you think you were doing? No answer, no good answer at all. I always wanted the best for Jeff, always. I just hoped against hope that he would improve or talk about things and get things straightened out. Whatever it is, it's bothering him. It was a terrible situation. All we could do was sit there and listen to them describing all kinds of terrible things. And it was just horrendous. It was just bad, really bad. It made me upset because I was told that the best place for Jeff to be would be in a psychiatric situation where they could give him help. Whereas in prison, you just don't get that. It was really very, very tough to hear. Very, very tough. Jeff just sat there while she was screaming, and he just took it. My feeling immediately when she did that was, this is to be expected. I would probably might do the same thing. I felt that that was encouraging. He's at least saying something, and he's really sorry. I felt that he didn't really know why he did it, but that he was sorry that he did it. I still blame myself for not digging in more deeply with Jeff at various times to find out why he did what he did. What have you been doing lately? Working and working and working and working? Oh, boy. Tell me something that makes any kind of sense, Jeff, as to why you are doing this. Why were you doing this?